So I chose to do my further analysis project on the option of extending the school day or extending the school year. I did choose to look at this because when we originally discussed this topic in class, I thought, why not extend the school day and why not extend the school year? More time in school could be great for kids, especially kids who are struggling to meet that 3,000 hours that they miss if they're in a low-income household of reading. I also wanted to see, though, more of if it's truly effective, how schedules are set up when you look at extending the year or extending the school day, which is why I chose to do my topic on further analysis on the extended school day. I began by looking at a research synthesis from William Evans and David Betchell titled The Extended School Day / Year Programs. In this synthesis, they reviewed two types, so extending the school day or extending the school year. Now, often proponents of extending the school day or school year will cite examples outside the United States, such as schools in China or Canada, where the school day is extended or the school year is extended. Opponents of extending the school day and the school year often look towards the financial burden that it places on districts and states to extend the school day due to compensation of teachers or having to operate the building on those extended hours. They also look, though, at the lack of research that exists to show a strong correlation between extending the school day and student achievement. The other issue that's often addressed with extending the school day or extending the school year, especially the school year, is the repercussion that could have with student achievement because of losing that summer vacation. In the research, one of the very interesting things that I found from the Carnegie study, which was looked at in this research synthesis, was that students spend about 32% of their waking hours in school. Not a lot of time in school in the grand scheme of things, especially if they're in school until they're only about 18. I think, though, that does mean in that time period there's a lot of time that students could be learning things, and not just how to add and subtract, but just learning other life skills. But where do they do that? And does that necessarily mean, though, that it needs to be done in a classroom setting? The other thing that was looked at in the research synthesis was from Worthen and Stray, a review of 20 years of research literature on extending the school year and the school day. According to William Evans and David Betchell, there is a lack of evidence really to support the connection between extending the time and student achievement. And with that lack of evidence to draw that strong connection, the cost, the financial burden outweighs extending the time. The other piece that's looked at in this research synthesis is from Alderman, who conducted an experimental 220-day calendar, which I believe exists in China. We in the U.S. operate on a 180-day calendar. I do know that several Title I schools have to take on an additional 3 days as part of the school improvement plan. In the study, though, of the 220-day calendar, there again was no significant improvement in student achievement, and the study was put on hold. In extending the school day and school year, the other option that was looked at is joint programs, which is very similar to community-based programs such as the YMCA or academic programs that exist after school. So a lot of their suggestions were based on the Carnegie Corporation study. Some big points with the joint programs is that it needs to connect to what is learned during school hours. So there can't be this disconnect between what students do in school and then what they're talking about after school. The other thing is to extend the school hours so that those community groups can use the building and so the students don't have to be transported other places. There also needs to be a clear expectation for students that exists between parents, teachers, and these joint programs, as to what students should be doing during their non-school hours, regardless of if they're involved in after-school tutoring or these joint programs, but what students should be doing in those other 2/3 of their time when they're not in school to aid in their learning. The next piece of research that I looked at was a review of extended day and after-school programs and their effectiveness. This was published by the Center for Research on the Education of Students Placed at Risk. They looked at 3 types of programs. So the first being daycare, which is pretty self-explanatory. The second being after school, which is typically those programs that provide transportation from the school to the after-school program. They provide a lot of activities. There is some emphasis on academic. The third program, which is more of the joint program, is the extended school day programs. In here lies the academic connection to what is taking place during the school day. That way students have that connection to what they're learning after school and can aid those students who are missing some of those pieces during the school day and help them after school. In the school-based academic or the extended day school day programs, there is a mix though too of the recreational and academic and cultural type things. In the extended school day programs, there can be such things as teachers conducting small groups or tutorial for remedial classes or homework groups or whatnot. It usually exists across a district. It is rarely mandatory though for students to attend these programs. A big thing with these programs though is it has been found the greater the attendance rate, the greater the achievement, which I'm sure is no surprise to anyone. In this review, they did a review of about 34 programs. They broke the different programs down based in the following areas. They looked at language arts after-school programs, which focuses mainly on just language arts, reading and writing type skills. The other is study skills, so helping kids with all areas of academics and those kind of navigating through everything. Academic programs and other curriculum areas, so looking at a science work group, or it's specific to one content area, or it could be computer technology. The fourth type that they looked at is the tutoring programs for reading, so one-on-one tutoring or small group tutoring. The last thing that they looked at is your community-based programs, which is not necessarily academic, can be academic, more along the lines of your YMCA type programs after school. There were 6 out of the 34 programs to be effective. Now, the 6 that were effective shared all these characteristics. So, a strong link to the school day curriculum, which I've already mentioned several times, staff that are qualified and well trained. So, it is great to have the volunteer tutorings, which was actually the 5th dimension, was a program, an academic after-school program that includes volunteer tutors that come in and help mentor. And that was found to be effective. Some of the other 6 programs were found to be effective from this study was an extended day tutoring, so the language arts specific, group tutoring with a specific curriculum that is very connected to the school day curriculum, ECRI, which stands for Exemplary Center for Reading Instruction, which focuses on language arts. The 4th was the Howard Street Tutoring, which is also a volunteer tutoring program, and HOST, which is another volunteer tutoring program, and then Big Brother, which was one of the Big Brother Big Sisters, which was one of the community-based programs. Now, when I continued to do my research, I found that there is a Time Collaborative, which is a group that partnerships between Ford and the National Center on Time and Learning. Now, their little spiel on their website is that they leverage additional time to empower students with knowledge, skills, and experiences is essential for college and career success. Now, Time between Ford and National Center have worked to create on this idea of expanded learning time, or ELT. Now, the criteria that they found for states to participate is this is what states need to do in order to participate and get some funding from this time collaborative. They need to redesign their schedule, establish priorities for success, establish a well-rounded curriculum, data-driven instruction, time for teachers to collaborate, enrichment opportunities, and create a culture of high expectations. Now, I don't make this comment to say that extended learning time was not a valid option, but all of those characteristics also seem characteristics for a highly successful school. So I think regardless of schools looking at extending their day, this is criteria that all schools should be looking at. In my research, I also came across two schools that came up a lot when looking at this extended time idea. The first is the Matthew J. Kuss Middle School in Fall River, Massachusetts. In 2006, they implemented this extended day from 7:15 to 3:35. Most schools currently operate on a 6.5-hour schedule, so that is an extended time. Before implementing the extended day, they were at failure of shutting down for not meeting AYP for a number of consecutive years. Now, when I looked it up, these are their scores currently. So 63% of students are proficient or higher in math, 54% proficient or higher in reading, and 39% proficient or higher in science. Now, when I looked it up, though, this is what I found interesting. So Matthew J. Kuss Middle School, when you look on their website, there is nothing referencing the extended day or the extended learning or any after-school program. So I'm not sure if this is still in operation at this middle school. When I did look up on the Time Collaborative website, there are 4 middle schools that still currently operate under the extended time or extended day schedule, in school. So, in the Fall River District. Now, I do know that from the Time website, there currently are 9,000 students enrolled in 19 schools that operate under the extended day for 2013-2014, and that's looking to expand by 30 schools for 2014-2015. One of the big things with the extended day is those enrichment courses that could be added on, which I think is appeasing to a lot of schools. So being able to add on opportunities such as forensics, band, chorus, martial arts, or just different courses that can expand the learning and lives of a lot of students. The next school is a Miami Edison Senior High School, which originally, when I looked at it, looked fabulous. So a longer day, 4 days a week, 8 to 3:25, and then an early release 1 day a week that allows teachers that hour to stay afterwards for professional development. They do operate on the 100-minute block for the core classes, and then see their other classes such as art, band, orchestra under the 50-minute schedule. Now, this is what I found interesting with this school, They are a career academy, which means in 10th grade, students need to choose one of the 4 paths: business and finance, communication and digital technology, law and public school, and medical health. I just not really related to the extended day, but I found that very interesting, that type of career academy where students are choosing a path to go down. Now, the last thing is just kind of my analysis or my takeaway from this. So, the big thing is, in the research, there is not a strong connection between extending the time of the school day or extending the school year and student achievement. For a lot of students, being in school longer would be less effective. Most students can't sit still for even 40 minutes. So going from a 6.5-hour day to a 7.5-hour day would be a long stretch for a lot of kids. More effective, I feel, is the after-school programs that are available. So the partnership between schools and after-school community groups, where schools are really using their teachers or communicating with these after-school programs as to what the curriculum is and how to help these students after school. The other big thing is, regardless of the time in the day, there's never going to be enough time. but enrichment opportunities need to be available. Whether or not chorus and orchestra and band are offered in the schools, or art is still a part of the curriculum, those types of things can be brought into the core classes. So that is all for my further analysis on the extended day or extended year.